This is Katie, Zero, TLJ, Joyce, and Belle.
Yeah, and hello, Dougie Bell. We were just out riding around here Sunday afternoon. We're getting ready to settle down for the evening. Over the years, I worked at the Nyack, North Iowa Area Community College for 29 years. I've retired. They were spending off part of their IT department to a company called Solution Management Group, SMG. They hired me on, and that's where I'm working now. You've been working here at the greenhouse for
Forever.
Yeah. We bought it back in '92, and before that, she was helping her grandma off and on over the years. So and both our jobs. It's very seldom that she'll help me in my job or I help her in her job, unless it's like an emergency. If she has a water line or water line break or a furnace go out or lost power or part of the roof blows off, I'll come in and rescue and save the day.
Yep.
And very seldom that she ever came to campus. She's done it a couple times to help me on special setups, stuff
Weekends
like that.
or something.
Yeah, it's not too often, but those are kind of like extreme. Where all of a sudden, oops, we gotta get this done now. But like when we get to Mother's Day, Memorial Day weekend, Valentine's Day, we know ahead of time she's going to need help and she's going to have to hire somebody.
Yeah.
My rate's a lot cheaper than she was. You want to get down? My rate's a lot cheaper than somebody else's. So a lot of times we'll make little agreements where, okay, you wear the tuxedo for 2 days and I'll do this for you. And It's not like that, guys. She's, she's not a Catholic girl, so she's a Lutheran. But, I mean, and like for example, one time when we got the camper, she was kind of, wasn't really jumping up and joy to go camping. So that year I said, let's go camping more times than we did the year before. I didn't say let's go 5 times or one more time or 5 more days or one more day, but we got quite a few times more than I thought we would, and she got the camping bug, right?
Well, it's nice to get away.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's she grew up and her parents had a full-off canvas-style camper, and when you're one of those on a cold, wet weekend, you're cold and wet all weekend.
Yes.
In a hard shell camper, you can get away from the cold and get warmed up. So it really matters what type of equipment you have, and
it does.
So and on Sunday, like here, Sunday night, we get this one shot, and I'll edit it, and we'll sit down on the couch. There's probably I can't remember how many YouTube channels we subscribe to, quite a bit, and there's 4 or 5 that have drones, and that's what we do on Sunday night. Watch YouTube channels and watch she checks into the local 2-meter net on some of the repeaters in the area. Yep. Everybody asks, where's Tom? And you usually have to go, so they know I'm okay.
They just automatically check you in, dear.
But back in 2012, roughly, 2012, I picked up one of these guys. This is a Parrot AR20 2.0. These came out in 2011. They were actually showed off at CES in 2011. And I've learned over the years, you never buy the first year of something new, because let somebody else be the beta tester or the guinea pig. This weighs 340 grams. That's important. Remember that. This is quite fun. You use your cell phone, your smartphone, or a tablet. You download some software on the tablet, and you actually, the camera in the front, you see on the display, and you fly it around. A lot of fun. But the problem was, back shortly after that, there was a certain country and companies overseas that were flooding. They flooded the NiCad market with very bad NiCad batteries. Normal NiCad battery, you get 2 to 3 years out of it, charging and discharging. These, if you got 6 months, you're good. And then they got into the lithium style batteries, like what these guys take. The first battery that came with this lasted about a year, almost 2 years actually. Had a lot of fun, and I picked up a couple more. Then I found some, they were hard to come from Parrot. I found some other ones that were a little cheaper. And the first one I put in the charger, I think I could smell something burning in the house, couldn't figure what it was, and the battery was just overheating. That's what you were smelling, was the plastic. The other 3 batteries from that group didn't last a year. I went back to there was a big hobby shop in Rochester, Minnesota, that does specialty in remote controlled vehicles. And he says, yeah, I can get you a battery, but I won't warranty it. It was kind of giving me flashbacks when the NiCad problem was. Back then, you couldn't get good batteries for your power tools, your handheld radios for public service or amateur radio. A lot of people were looking for them. I had the local city guys came down here one afternoon and asked me if I could order the batteries. I said, I won't warranty them because the people I'm buying from are telling me the same deal. So it was one of those deals we just had to wait. And I kind of lost touch of it. Now, about 5 of those channels that we watch, they all have drones. And why don't you get your old drone? Let's get that going again. Oh my God! Let me check into it. And we ended up buying this year. She says, just go and get it. This is a DJI Mini SE. This weighs 249 grams. Again, remember that number. And then I started checking into licensing and the registration, because back when I shelved the Parrot, that the FAA started getting involved, because there's again that 99-1 rule where 1% of the population is doing something wrong, so they have to make regulations to corral the 99% of us in. And started checking into that. And back then, you had to have a license for any drone. It had to be registered and all this stuff. Each drone will have a separate registration. Well, over a period of 10 years, I started checking into it, and they've changed back on that. I'm actually registered with the number, and I can put it on multiple devices. I have it on this drone. I have it on the Parrot drone. If we get a helicopter or a plane, that same number will go on that device also. So, and it's good for 3 years at roughly $5. Weight, if it's 250 grams or more, depending on how you're flying it, it should be registered. That's why DJI came out with 249. Now you got to be careful. If I would buy the extended battery pack, replace it with this one, it weighs 14 grams more than this pack, which would mean this is no longer below the 250 scale. So you would have to get it registered. The Parrot, this massive thing, it's a truck. It's manual steering, manual transmission. You know, everything is manual on it. I mean, you hook it up to your phone, your smartphone. You get up, you're flying around. There's a side wind. You got to kind of make sure you're going. You know, you're adding just a little stick to one side to hold it. You know, station keeping. It does a fairly decent job on its own, but to keep it in line, it's allowed to drift back and forth, up and down. So you got to really be on your toes. It's a lot of fun to fly. I've chased many squirrels out of the yard that were in the bird feeder. Then you switch over to this DJI SE. This is a sports car. This is automatic flying, automatic transmission, automatic throttle. You turn it on, set on the ground, it locks on the GPS, you hit takeoff, and it runs up about 4 feet in the air. Then from there you fly it wherever you want to go. If the batteries get too low, if it does not receive a good signal from the hand unit, or if I hit a button on the hand unit, this will all by itself fly back to where we started from and land. Return to home feature. This guy, battery runs down, it plummets from the earth, down to the earth. If it loses contact with the phone, the unit, it just stops and stays right where it's at till the battery runs down, then it falls to the earth. Yeah, I know.
He's done it.
Yeah. So, we started checking in the licensing. Do we need to get it registered or not registered? And this is my disclaimer. This is how I understand it. I watched many videos on YouTube the week I was off, and I think I have my head wrapped around it, and I'm sure that may be wrong or may be right. They may be right at this point in time, and 2 weeks from now they'll change something and it'll be wrong. To legally fly a drone, you have to have the Drone Part 107 drone license. This is a test provided by the FAA, and it's given at certain test locations throughout the country. Around here, the nearest one I found is in Rochester, Minnesota, and it's going to cost roughly $170 for me to go over there and take the test. They charge you for the test and for proctoring the test, so that's why it's a little higher than what the FAA recommends. You're allowed to give the test and also add a fee to proctor the test for them. And you can download all the information from the FAA's website, and there's also companies that have a class set up for your online class, self-paced class you can take, and there's an added charge on that too, and it varies anywhere from $100 to $200 depending on what group you go with. Checking all this, and then you're certified to fly. Well, then the FAA decided, well, there's going to be some people that just want to go out and have fun, so they came out with make sure I get this right off my cheat sheet, the USC 44809. Drone flying is for recreational use only, which means the intent of the mission the intent of the flight is just to go out and have fun. So, and they got like 9 criteria. If you meet each one of these 9 criteria, you're actually qualified under an exemption from Part 107. You'll be flying under the 44809. One, the whole idea of flying is just to have fun. If I'm out in the yard flying around, my neighbor walks over and says, "Hey Tom, if you fly over to the house, I can take a look at your phone, see what my rain gutters are like. Do I got to leave them? Do I got to clean them up?" Now the mission or the flight is no longer for fun. It's, I'm helping out somebody look at something. That's, don't qualify. But if I'm out there chasing the squirrels out of the bird feeders, I'm having fun. Squirrels aren't. Follow the FAA rules and the CBOs. I'll put a link down below on these. The CBO is a group of it's a group that sets up some other rules alongside with the FAA. The reason they did that, the FAA process of putting in rules is a long, lengthy process. If they have a CBO do it, they can actually make a rule change next week, and 2 weeks from now rescind it or create one on the fly. So a lot of these are, don't fly at night, don't fly over crowds, fly in a safe manner, no arming your putting weapons on your drone. It'd be kind of neat to put Roman candles on. That'll teach that squirrel. Also the next one is always have the drone in line of sight. When I'm out there flying, I have to see the drone at all times. If it flies behind a tree or flies behind a building, I no longer see it. I'm in violation of that rule. If I'm using, or you're flying with a set of heads-up display or augmented reality goggles, and then you must have a spotter within earshot of you who's watching the drone to let you know what's going on. And it has to be non-technical communication, which means you can't use a radio to talk between the two of them. 2 paper cups and a wire would not also satisfy the rule. They got to be within a certain distance that you can talk comfortably to them. So don't interfere with manned aircraft. If you're in a controlled airspace, fly at 400 feet or below with prior authorization. And also if you're in an uncontrolled airspace, again, 400 feet or below. There are apps out there you can put on your phone or your tablet that uses the GPS from the device, and it'll tell you, pop you up on a map, says, okay, you're in a controlled airspace, you're in an uncontrolled airspace. And a lot of the good apps will actually have a link where you can file for permission to fly in that area. A couple videos ago, we were at Clear Lake, Iowa for the Color of the Wind, the kite festival, and we were thinking about taking it, and I wasn't quite sure if I could do this. That area was under a controlled airspace from the Mason City Airport. I really wasn't sure if I could get the flight path in there on a Saturday morning with an event like that going on, and it was quite windy, so we decided, let's just play it safe, get some more hours flying before I try something crazy like that. Then they came out with a trust test. This is kind of like a safety briefing. You go through what to do, what not to do, understand some circumstances that would happen if you violate some rules. They call it a trust test. Very easy. You take that and you print out a certificate, and you must keep. I print out 2 certificates. I keep them both in the bag where I keep the drones. That's why I have it at all times. Register the drone. Again, depending on how you're going to do this, if it's just for recreational flying and it's over 250 grams, it has to be registered. If it's below 250 grams, 249, it does not have to be. And again, don't operate in a dangerous manner. If you adhere to all 9 of these criteria, you have an exemption to fly for fun, where you don't have the Part 107, and you go out there and have a good time. Now, one at Thursday afternoon, I was on vacation after Valentine's Day. I sat down, took all afternoon, but I took the test, got my certification, got the drone. Both drones are registered. Now, I'm the one with the registration number, and I can fix that number to any device I want. So both of these drones are registered with the FAA. If we buy a helicopter down the road, or if we buy an airplane, ooh, that'd be fun.
It probably would be fun.
I'd really teach that squirrel. You can use the same registration number. It's $5 for 3 years. So, if you're flying and you're going to get payment for it or some type of monetary exchange, then you have to get your Part 107 license. A lot of people who are flying on YouTube, there's a couple of videos on YouTube. I had a laugh watching this young couple. They were actually arguing with an FAA agent about, well, we don't need a Part 107 because the amount of money we get from YouTube is in our prime source of income is just a small 1 or 2%. No, you're still accepting money from YouTube to fly. And for everybody out there who thinks we get money from YouTube,
no, not even close.
No, not even close. The last few years, 5 years, right before we got onto YouTube, they really changed the formula how to get any money out of your videos. Right now, you need to have 1,000 subscribers. And I forget how many hours of video you have to have out there before you get 1 red cent from YouTube. And the people are just going to say, oh, well, but there's commercials or ads right before you're during your video. Yeah, we ain't getting that money. I'd like to know who's getting my money. I could be like Dr. Scott.
Yeah, you could be.
That's my money. I can do whatever I want. No, if you guys don't know who Dr. Scott is, do a Google search on Dr. Gene Scott. You'll get a good laugh. So, but, and down the road, I may go after my Part 107. We'll see how things go, how much fun this is to fly around. I've already been asked by people I work with and around town here to hey, can you fly over? They want to have something checked out in a grain leg at a farm. A couple people want to know if I could take a picture of their house, their homestead. On the Facebook, I put a couple videos up on that, just on my practice flights around. That's what they saw. And yeah, for a small town like St. Andrew, you could probably make, yeah, you wouldn't make an income on it, but you'd be nice, you know, for beer money on a Friday night, you know. But it's just a different perspective. We'll post some videos here next from both these drones. We'll do a little voiceover. This is the video from the Parrot AR20 2.0. Being a manual control drone, as you move forward, the nose will pitch down, and when you stop, the nose will pitch up. And when you make your turns, you got to be careful not to go too fast and blur the video. The camera is rigidly mounted to the frame of the drone, and what you're seeing is when you go forward, the drone is pinching its nose down to grab more air at the blades to push it forward. Then when you go to stop, it pitches the nose of the drone up to cause the air to blow out and stop forward motion. When you try to hover, there's always a little bit of movement to either one way or the other. The software in the drone will allow like a foot of movement between east, west, up, down, forward, or backwards. That's normal. It's recommended that you keep your hands on the controls to compensate for any wind pushing against the side of the drone. Color of the camera is fairly decent as long as you're not pointing to a bright light like the sun or a yard light. It's nice and strong on the shapes. It's not soft. Pretty good for its age. This is a video of the DJI Mini SE. This thing is pretty much all automatic. You hit launch, it comes up to about 4 feet. You take control, we fly over. We'll gain a little altitude and do a slight turn to the left. What you're not seeing in the video is that nose bouncing up and down like we did at the Parrot. The camera is mounted in a gimbal, which will compensate for movement of the drone so you have a nice steady shot. Right here in this hover, if you would see the drone, it's actually bounced around nose up, nose down, left, right, compensating for the wind. And also the gimbal is actually compensating for the movement of the drone. There's 3 different recording types. There's normal, sport, and cinematic. Cinematic is probably the smoothest one. Sport is more speed, and normal is just for everyday use. Color is real good. The sharpness of the picture is very good. This is a 2.7K camera. So, on that, just nothing else, a new little toy, as she would put it.
Yes.
To me, it's a tool. We'll improve our videos, dear.
Yes, it will.
The battery market has gotten a lot better. I was able to get a couple batteries for the Parrot. Talking to the guy, emailed back and forth. He says, we haven't had that problem in a couple of years. I see everybody's got their act together. So you'll be getting some videos from the Parrot. That is a 1080p camera in the nose. The DJI Mini SE, that's actually a 2.7K. A lot better video. I'll probably downscale that a little bit to match up the other video so it's not that big of a joint. But I mean, I still got to follow certain regulations. You can't fly in a state park. You can't fly in a national park. National monument, that's what it is. So they have certain regulations. Certain counties and towns that have regulations, which is understandable. You want to make sure people have their privacy. You can't be flying over a public swimming pool. That's just, you know, something you don't do.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, it's kind of a cool little thing. It's quite small. I was surprised. I didn't think it's going to be that
You want to
little.
fly?
Sure.
we'll get her out there fly. So, I mean, one thing I'm looking at is some of these campgrounds we're staying at, and we talked about, we could do a little review. It's kind of handy to have an overview shot of the campgrounds, give you a better layout, you know, where the pool is, where the shower room, bathroom facilities are, and stuff like that, dump stations. So it could be a useful tool down the road.
Yeah,
so.
it would be kind of fun. So.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for that squirrel to come back. So.
He might not be back.
Yeah, but that may be a 2-part video on me and the squirrels in this neighborhood. We cannot use any type of plastic bird feeder because they'll gnaw right through them.
Oh, they're terrible.
Yeah, any type of bird feeder we have out here is the metal ones. So, but as I go off and plan my revenge on the squirrels, 7-3 everybody, stay safe.
7-3.
Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, other hams. Subscribe, hit that bell to get notification when new videos come out. Add comments below. 7-3 everybody. 3, 2, up in the airs. You don't remember that? 3, 2.